Welcome, crypto fam, to No One Daily Bitcoin Pod. In today's show, we'll be discussing Bitcoin bulls defending 80,000 support as World War III of trade wars crushes the U.S. stocks. That's right, Bitcoin just broke its correlation with the S&P. This is not priced in. Also, major news, China public company Cango to sell 350 million auto business to go all in on the Bitcoin. And quoting Max Keiser, Trump has triggered the global reset. That's right. Also, the Bitcoin hash rate just hit a new all-time high. We all know the Bitcoin price follows the hash rate. And a White House official on President Trump shared he's at the peak of just not giving a fuck anymore. We'll also be discussing stablecoin supply surges $30 billion in Q1 as investors hedge against the volatility, as well as Bitcoin DeFi surge may boost the Bitcoin demand and adoption, according to Binance. We'll also be discussing the American Bitcoin's ambition is to dominate the mining, according to the Hut 8 CEO. We'll also be discussing GameStop CEO Cohen buys 10 million worth of the GameStop shares following the Bitcoin acquisition plan. As you know, they just raised 1.5 billion to stack thy biddy. Now, Michael Saylor cheers for 1 million made in the USA. Bitcoin amid the market crash to the GameStop CEO. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much motherfucking more right here in today's show. If you're new to the channel, very important, smash the likes, go ahead, subscribe. We're the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Then ring that bell, turn on all notifications. That way you get notified each and every day when I go live. Today is pod episode 1953. I'm your host, JV. Happy TGIF. It is April 4th, 2025, and Bitcoin has finally decoupled from the stock market as stocks continue to crash. So let's check out our market watch here for the Famalam. As you can see, right here on your screen, Bitcoin up 2.3% on the day, trading at around 84,000 at the time of the live. Solana up 6%, Ether up 1%, BNB up 1.5%, XRP up 3.3%, and Doge up 7% on the day. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at 2.69 trillion. The Bitcoin market cap, $1.66 trillion. And as far as the volume, we have roughly 106 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours. And currently, the Bitcoin dominance is at a even 62%, with the Ether dominance back on the decline at 8.1%. Checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. SPX up 22%, Pendle up 12%, and Cosmos Atom up just shy of 10%. Let me know which alts you're bullish on for the bull. Holla. And checking out the crypto bubbles. I like to get a visual perspective on the day in the market. And finally, the bulk of the market in the green. Safe to say 90-10 green over red. Zooming out on the weekly, unfortunately, we flip it. It's like 90-10 red over green. And zooming out on the monthly, very similar scenario, 90% of the market wrecks today. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index. Yesterday, we struck a 25 extreme fear. Today, we're back up a bit. 28 fear, last week 44, and last month 20 in extreme fear. And checking out the time chain calendar, we have 159,065 blocks into the next halving of 2028. We're currently on block number 890,935, and you can currently exchange one fiat monopoly dollar for 1,194 of the sats. Pick up the sats, put down the gats, pick up some Bitcoin caps from my man Sergio over at bitcoincaps.net. Get yourself a custom Bukele camo just like the one I'm rocking. Headline here reads, Bitcoin bulls defend 80,000 support as World War III of the trade wars crushes the U.S. stocks. And before I dive deeper, here are some of the breaking trend lines trending right now on X. Bitcoin just broke its correlation with the S&P. This is not priced in, and this is a sign of the times. Also, breaking news, China public company Cango to sell 750 million auto business to go all in on the Bitcoin. More adoption continues, and quoting Max Keiser, Trump has triggered the global reset. The era of globalization was a deflationary period where the U.S. workers traded jobs for very cheap consumer goods manufactured in Asia. The quality of life was not too noticeably impacted. The people who fell off the grid were ignored or bailed out with more food stamps, etc. An inflationary deglobalization and reset means jobs and higher incomes are coming back to the U.S., but the overall inflation rate will jump even higher, so the quality of life will not materially improve. The only way to improve quality of life is to stack the sats. So you know what to do, family. And shout out to the high priest, Max Kaiser. Also, this just in, White House official on President Trump's thinking. He's at the peak of just not giving a what anymore. That's right. And quoting the high priest again, gold is the poor man's Bitcoin. He also points out gold is too centralized. It can never compete with Bitcoin as a safe haven. And if you don't know, now you know, gold bugs. So as you're looking at here in the 1 hour chart, Bitcoin price dodged the chaotic volatility that crushed the equities markets here on April 4th of the Wall Street Open by holding above the 82,000 level. And we're still pumping over up 2,000 on the day. TradingView showed erratic moves on the Bitcoin lower timeframes as the daily high neared roughly 85, evaporating as the Bitcoin price dropped by 2,500 at the start of the U.S. trading session. And we're right back in action, Jackson. Fears over the prolonged U.S. trade war and subsequent recession fueled the market downside, with the S&P and the NASDAQ both falling another 3.5% at the open. In the ongoing market coverage, the Kabisi letter described the tariffs as the start of World War III of the trade wars. And quoting Trump here, great job numbers, far better than we're working. Hang tough. I guess he means hang tough. We can't lose. We shall soon see, right? 2-day losses of the S&P surpassed 8% for a total of $3.5 trillion being wiped out of the market cap. I'm curious, where does all that money actually flow into when it disappears? Obviously, some of it's going into the biddy. This is the largest 2-day drop since the pandemic. Good Lord, since Novid. The NASDAQ 100 made history the day prior, recording the biggest single-day point losses ever. The latest U.S. jobs data is in the form of the March non-farm payrolls print, which beat expectations, faded into insignificance, with the markets already panicking. Market expectations of interest rate cuts from the Fed nonetheless edge higher, with the odds for such a move coming at the Fed's May meeting hitting 40% per data via the CME Group's FedWatch tool, so we shall soon see. Bitcoin managed to avoid a major collapse by maintaining above 80,000. Some analysts were saying if we broke 80, we'd likely retest 70,000, so count that as a blessing. Quoting analysts here, Bitcoin is also potentially forming the very early signs of a brand new exaggerated bullish divergence. Double bottom on the price action. Meanwhile, the RSI develops higher lows, the RSI being the relative strength index. 82.4 needs to continue holding a support, and lo and behold, we are. Quoting another analyst here, historically, Bitcoin always bottoms first before the stock market, so expecting a 76.5 as the bottom, meaning it already happened. Now I'm waiting for the reclaim of 86.5 for more upwards continuation, so all eyes on 86.5, and then most likely 90,000 in play before you know it, we'll be back above 100 G's, baby. And also be pulling up the live charts here, so let's do that really quick for the fam-a-lam. And again, welcome everyone just joining our live stream here today. We're live and in the flesh, pretty little bitty doing his thing. Here we're looking at the 10-minute chart via TradingView, via Coinbase, the largest exchange, at least here in the United States. 10-minute chart shows us we have a couple of bull targets on the screen, one sitting just shy of 88, and then we have another one sitting at 85.3. One bull scenario sitting all the way down at 78.3. And zooming out from the 10-minute, we'll work our way backwards, looking at the 1 hour chart. Bull scenario here in the orange, 96.5. We're not too far from that. 12 G's. We also have a bear target of 79 and a couple of other super bear targets. And zooming out from the hourly, we take a look at a 4 hour chart. 4 hour shows a rising wedge, green super bull target of 113.7, which would take us back to price discovery. Current all-time highs 109.3, which was achieved in January on Inauguration Day. The red target 105.5, taking us close to price discovery. And again, the orange target 96.5, around there. And zooming out from there, we take a look at a daily. Daily chart says it's going up forever, JP. Also a rising wedge formation here, a red bull target of just shy of 113, and then 113.7. Bear scenario sitting down at around just shy of 69,000, which was the previous cycle all-time high, which was achieved back in November of 2021. And zooming out a bit more, we'll look at a weekly. In a couple of days, we get another weekly close. We're finally forming green, which is a good sign, as last week we closed in the red. And then we had a couple of bullish momentum weeks, but prior to that, we had the big leg down, which you can see on your screen. The silver lining, we still have a cup and handle target on the weekly chart, which you can see on your screen, sitting at 124 G's. And zooming out from there, we take a look at a monthly formation. Not much action happening right now, pretty even, but nonetheless, we're just kicking off the month of April. Unfortunately, the month of March was a bearish close. February, yeah, I mean, we've had actually quite a few bearish closes, but hopefully we can flip it now that we're in Q2 and Q1 is behind us. But you guys let me know your thoughts and read your comments out loud. Welcome, everyone. Next headline here reads, stablecoin supply surges $30 billion in Q1 as investors hedge against the volatility. That's right. Despite the 30 billion surge in stablecoin supply to new record levels, crypto investors remain cautious as they awaited market stability amid the U.S. tariff fears. The total stablecoin supply rose by more than $30 billion in the first quarter of this year, even as the overall crypto market cap fell 19%, according to a new report by Into the Block. Quoting them here, the correlation between crypto and stocks climbed as macro expectations quickly shifted from the golden era, optimism to tariff-led doom and gloom. The stablecoin supply's growth reflects a cautious stance, with investors holding stablecoins as a hedge, likely waiting for the market stability or better entry points. Now, industry leaders predicted that the stablecoin supply may surpass 1 trillion this year, potentially acting as a significant crypto market catalyst. Quoting them here, we're in a stablecoin adoption upswell that's likely to increase dramatically this year. We can go from 225 billion in stable coins to 1 trillion just this calendar year. Let me know if you guys agree or disagree with that. The stablecoin supply surpassed 219 billion record high March 15th. Good Lord. Analysts see the growing stablecoin supply as a signal for the continuation of the bull cycle. Now, during the first quarter of the year, Ethereum network saw over 3 trillion worth of stablecoin transactions on the main net, excluding layer 2 networks. The number of unique addresses using stables on Ethereum mainnet also surpassed the record 200,000 mark for the first time since March. And despite the growing blockchain activity, the price of the Ether fell by over 45% during the first quarter of 2025. That's right, we were all the way down to 1,700 yesterday. It was kind of wild considering the all-time high was achieved previous cycle for Ether at around maybe the 4,500 mark. So we're far from that. The decline in Ether is linked to the combination of the broader macroeconomic concerns and Ethereum-specific pressures, such as increased competition from networks like Solana and the rise of Layer 2 protocols. Quoting another analyst, some analysts argue that Layer 2 solutions dilute the Ether value by shifting activity off the main chain, but this overlooks how Layer 2 still rely on Ethereum for security and pay fees, contributing to the ecosystem. He added that the decline in ETH is more likely due to the market sentiment and uncertainty about Ethereum's ability to capture value from the broader ecosystem. Still, other analysts see the silver lining to the tariff-related investor concerns. Nansen analysts predict a 70% chance for crypto markets to bottom by June of 2025 as the tariff negotiations advance. And there you have it, yo. And if you don't know, now you know. Next headline, we're going to discuss Bitcoin DeFi. Headline reads, Bitcoin DeFi surge may boost Bitcoin demand and adoption, according to Binance. The value locked into Bitcoin-based decentralized finance. We call that BTC-Fi, has surged more than 2,700% over the past 12 months, potentially transforming Bitcoin from a passive store of value into a productive yield-bearing asset. According to new research from the largest exchange on the planet, Binance, BTC-Fi is a new technological paradigm that aims to bring decentralized finance capabilities to the Bitcoin-based layer. It is one of the fastest growing crypto sectors, reaching a total value of over $8.6 billion. The growing value of BTC-Fi, along with the potential interest rate cuts, may reinforce positive sentiment for Bitcoin in the medium and long term, according to Binance research. Now, if the BTC-Fi sector growth trajectory continues, it could open up new opportunities for Bitcoin holders to generate yield through lending, Bitcoin-backed loans, liquidity, provision, and other DeFi mechanisms, quoting the Binance spokesperson here. This may contribute to a shift in how Bitcoin is perceived, from a passive store of value to a productive on-chain asset. While it is too early to determine the full impact, these involving use cases could support broader adoption and, over time, strengthen the demand. Interest in BTC-Fi surged after April 2024's Bitcoin halving, which introduced the Runes protocol, the first fungible token standard on the Bitcoin blockchain. Several Bitcoin-native projects have helped accelerate the trend. Babylon introduced Bitcoin staking for the first time in the network history, enabling holders to earn passive income from their assets. Now, Hermetica launched the first Bitcoin-backed synthetic dollar, USDH, which debuted with a 25% yield for investors. I also throw caution out there. Number one, I'm not familiar with this, though I'm talking about it. So be also very sus before just throwing your Bitcoin in any platform to earn a yield, because oftentimes you can get scammed. There's a lot of I should say unethical Bitcoin yield platforms out there. In fact, the majority of them are scammers. So just be careful. I just want to stress that caution. Long-term Bitcoin holders have restarted their Bitcoin accumulation after the Bitcoin supply held by the long-term holders bottomed in February. Here you can see the Bitcoin supply held by the long-term holders versus the BIDI price. Long-term hodlers are wallets that have been holding Bitcoin for at least 155 days. Growing accumulation from the long-term holders have reduced the available Bitcoin supply in the exchanges. And I heard it's the lowest supply we have ever seen, which will most likely lead to a supply shock driven BIDI price rally. The growing accumulation trend amongst the long-term hodlers aligns with the significant period of adoption for the Bitcoin due to the establishment of the U.S. Strategic Bitcoin Reserve and growing institutional interest, according to the research report. Look at the Trumpster right there signing executive order over executive order. Now, on March 7th, Trump signed the executive order to create the Strategic Bitcoin Reserve using Bitcoin seized from government criminal cases. Trump signed the historic Bitcoin Reserve order a day ahead of the hosting of the first White House Crypto Summit, which he was accompanied by Michael Saylor, who proposed for America and Trumpster to purchase, I think it was 25% of the Bitcoin supply, which would be over 5 million BTC for the United States. And you guys already know that was the very first crypto summit for the White House. Let's discuss this big news here. American Bitcoin's ambition is to dominate the Bitcoin mining space, according to the Hut 8 CEO. That's right. Earlier in the week, Bitcoin mining giant Hut 8 revealed a partnership that includes two members of the Trump family, Donald Jr. and Eric. Let's go. Let's throw Barron in there. Why not? The holy trinity of the Trumpsters. And it plans to launch a new mining venture called American Bitcoin. In the exclusive interview on Decentralized with Cointelegraph Bite-Size Insight Series, Hut 8 CEO Asher Ganut shared new details about the venture's vision, while the timing was right and how the company plans to scale. Here's some of the highlights. We've thought about splitting out our Bitcoin mining and energy infrastructure businesses for some time. Meeting Eric and Don Jr. and seeing their deep passion for Bitcoin and infrastructure was the perfect catalyst. And according to Janut, the goal is clear: to build one of the world's largest and most efficient Bitcoin mining platforms rooted in American soil and aligned with pro-Bitcoin sentiment growing under President Trump's administration. Eric told me, "I don't want to get involved in anything that isn't the biggest and the best." Now the move comes and notice it's Bitcoin and not Ethereum. Guess it's the biggest and the best. The move comes at a pivotal moment for the U.S.-based mining, with China out of the picture post-2021 crackdown, and Washington now openly exploring the idea of a strategic BIDI reserve. America's place in the global mining ecosystem is under transformation. Still, size isn't everything. That's what she said. Ganut emphasized that efficiency and cost effectiveness are core to the strategy, quoting them here. We don't want to just be the biggest. We want to be the most efficient and cost-effective miner. I think he's hinting we want to be the most profitable. And our cost basis, if our cost basis isn't low, we might just buy Bitcoin. Good point. If it's more profitable to buy the Bitcoin over the mining, they're just going to buy the Bitcoin. If they can make it more profitable mining the BIDI, they're just going to mine the BIDI. They want to do it the biggest and the best and the most profitable. Now, American Bitcoin structure allows it to mine the Bitcoin at a low cost, accumulate more than the market allows, and potentially expand into other BIDI ecosystem services. Hut 8 currently holds over 10,000 of the BIDI on the balance sheet, worth up to $1 billion, dependent upon the market conditions. American Bitcoin aims to surpass that. Now, as the company isn't just bullish on the BIDI, it's bullish on the power consumption. Ganut pushed back on criticism that mining wastes energy, quoting him here. Power consumption has only increased with every tech revolution. Cheap, excess energy is what drives Bitcoin mining. Just imagine if we had 0 point energy, which is, the theory is there's an abundance of energy that exists in the ether, for lack of a better term. And what if energy was free? Everyone in the world would be mining Bitcoin, would they not? I'm just saying. Nikola Tesla discovered free energy like a long, long time ago. It's been suppressed. I'm just saying. I digress. Looking ahead, Hut 8's mining spinoff has big ambitions. Our focus is scaling. Our focus is taking this company public on a U.S. exchange. You'll hear more from us soon. Listen to the full episode. Yeah, we'll link it in the show notes below the video in the description, as we do each and every day. Next story of the day. Here's the latest with GameStop Headline reads, GameStop CEO Cohen, I believe it's Ryan Cohen, buys 10 million of GameStop shares following the Bitcoin acquisition plan. That's right. Ryan Cohen, chairman and CEO of the retailer GameStop, increased his stake in the company following the firm's decision to add the Bitty as a treasury reserve asset. Finally, listen to the Giga Chad. According to a Thursday filing, the U.S. SEC won't let me be. Cohen acquired an additional 500,000 shares of the company's Class A common stock at $21.55 per share, totaling approximately $10.78 million. This purchase elevates Cohen's total holdings to 37 million shares, representing 8% of GameStop's outstanding shares. According to the filing, Cohen's purchase comes on the heels of GameStop's board approving a plan in late March to invest part of its cash pile into Bitcoin. The firm also issued $1.5 billion in convertible notes to raise funds for its Bitcoin acquisition plan. That capital raise closed earlier this week, which means finito, completed, done deal. And they're probably in the process of buying Bitcoin on the dip right now. And if I was a betting man, I'd say probably next week they're going to announce purchasing the 1.5 billion. And also note they have an additional 4.5 billion in cash, which is sitting like a melting ice cube. So theoretically, they have 6 billion, which they could ultimately put into the Bitcoin if they really wanted to. GME shares are slightly up, pre-market trading after falling over 7% on Thursday as U.S. stocks plunged in reaction to President Trump's tariff announcement. And as I shared, there has been a decoupling. Bitcoin's maintaining and in the green, along with a lot of the crypto today, while the stocks continue to get wrecked. But what does this tell me? This means he is bullish on what he is doing and he believes in his company and he believes in the Bitcoin acquisition plan, or he wouldn't be investing 10 million. And I mean, look at the other companies publicly traded which have embraced Bitcoin as a treasury reserve asset. The most obvious is Michael Saylor's, MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B, which was the first publicly traded company to put the Bitty on the balance sheet. Now you also have all these other companies. You have the Japanese MicroStrategy, MetaPlanet, as well as all these other companies, and the stock prices are going through the roof. That's due to the Bitcoin acquisition. Once you adopt Bitcoin, you're getting the support of all the Bitcoin community. For example, me talking about this and all the other influencers talking about the stocks that are adopting Bitcoin or doing the treasury reserve play, the Saylor put, as we call it, that's just more attention, more attraction, and more investors looking to get rich. So game on. Now for our feature story of the day, the Giga Chad, Michael Saylor, cheers for $1 million Bitcoin made in the USA. In fact, he responded to the GameStop CEO, Ryan Cohen, says, you're going to love $1 million Bitcoin made in the USA. So let's break this baby down. Starting with the tweet where it all started. Ryan says, I can't wait for my 10,000 made in the USA iPhone. Saylor responds, you're going to love your $1 million made in the USA Bitcoin. Let's dive a little deeper into the story, and then I'll be sharing you all the recent tweets from the Giga Chad himself. So yeah, MicroStrategy, now known as Strategy B founder, the largest corporate holder of Bitcoin, just recently purchased another 22,000 BTC and made a plan, the 2121 plan, and that plan is to purchase $21 billion worth of Bitcoin over the next few years. I think he'll achieve that goal sooner than later. He recently said, made in the USA Bitcoin is going to be worth $1 million per coin. The Bitcoin advocate was responding to the GameStop CEO Ryan Cohen's comment on X about the potential hike in Apple's iPhones when he made the remark. Note that the majority of iPhones are manufactured still in China. The country President Trump targeted the most as part of the global reciprocal tariffs he imposed on April 2nd, dubbed the Liberation Day. Saylor told Cohen he will love the made in USA Bitcoin worth $1 million. Last month, President Trump not only announced the creation of the strategic Bitcoin reserve, but also vowed to make the U.S. the Bitcoin superpower. Saylor said in a previous post that against the backdrop of the stock market rout tariffs following that, Bitcoin offers resilience in a world full of hidden risks. And Saylor is known to be very encouraging of other companies, such as GameStop acquiring Bitcoin. The strategy founder also expanded on the asset's volatility. He said that traders sell what they can, not what they want to during the market panic. Bitcoin's sell-off only highlights its highly liquid nature. Though Bitcoin trades like a risk asset short-term, it shouldn't be correlated to a long-term movement. A great believer in the long-term potential appreciation of the Bitcoin value, Saylor has turned strategy into the world's largest corporate hodler of the Bitcoin, now holding 528,185 BTC, worth roughly $44 billion. Now, though the firm's stock couldn't escape the immediate market crash, it showed remarkable resilience and was up 3.2% April 4th, trading at $291 per share. And I promised to share with you the most recent tweets from the Giga Chad. So let me refresh his X account and I'll just go down the line and read you what I can. So here we go. Here's some recent tweets. Today's market reaction to tariffs is a reminder. Inflation is just the tip of the iceberg. Capital faces dilution from taxes, regulation, competition, obsolescence, and unforeseen events. Bitcoin offers resilience in a world full of hidden risks. Very powerful words there. He also reminds us that divorce risks marry the Bitcoin. That's right. Divorce the risk, marry the biddy. Bitcoin is the most volatile asset because it is the most useful. As he shares here, Bitcoin trades like a risk asset short term because it is the most liquid, stable, 24/7 asset on the planet. In times of panic, traders sell what they can, not what they want to. It doesn't mean it's correlated long term. It just means it's always available. This was in response to stupid Cabbage Hands Portnoy saying, I don't understand why Bitcoin goes down with the stocks. And then Saylor had to enlighten him. He also wrote here, Bitcoin makes you the most interesting. Couldn't agree more. And it shows you MicroStrategy up 91%, Tesla up 28%, Meta 10%, Nvidia 9%, Google 7%, Amazon 3%, Apple 3%, Microsoft 2%. There are no tariffs on Bitcoin. Appreciate the reminder. Also, as you announced last week, MicroStrategy treasury options resulted in a 15,500 Bitcoin gain worth 1.3 billion at Bitcoin at 87 G's, baby. And there's only one thing that's better than the biddy. More of the biddies. Eric Trump and Donald J. Trump Jr. are launching American Bitcoin, which we touched upon, aiming to become the largest Bitcoin miner and build the Bitcoin reserve. That the Trumps believe in Bitcoin clearly, or they wouldn't be launching that, and they want to make it the most profitable, as we touched upon earlier. Don't be a fool. Buy Bitcoin. And I'm going to leave you with a quote from the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser. Gold is the poor man's Bitcoin. And if you don't know, now you know.